Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Good to have you on board. It is Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. This show is brought to you by DraftKings. Mitch Moss, Pauly Howard with you live downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort Casino. Busy day today in sports, right? With the College World Series, 3 games there, 3 matches, Euro 24 going on. Nigel Seeley going to join us here in a couple of minutes. We'll ask him if Portugal is better off without Ronaldo. You wanted to bring this up today.
A lot of it.
Are you there?
Yeah. Well, I'm not a soccer expert, but that's certainly it. I think you can get to that and make that argument. I mean, the one kick, I don't even know what he's trying to do there and accomplish that, but that's, you know, with the ego out of control, that's in the epic comeback. So he'd be the right guy to ask coming up.
Yeah, and Nigel Seeley joins the program now, PremierSportsPlays.com. He is on the Progressive guest line. Nigel, good morning, mate. Thanks for the time as always. Do you think Portugal would be better off not playing Ronaldo?
I think as the tournament goes on, I think he's going to make more of an impact coming off the bench. He's a big name, obviously, but at the moment, I think if the manager drops him and it doesn't work, then they're in trouble and he's going to lose his job. So I think you want to play him safe. I think he's going to be used to get him through to the knockout stages. When we get to the knockout stages, I think he may, we've got to remember he's 39 years of age now, so he might not have the legs to participate all the way through a major tournament. And I think he'll have a bigger impact come on a sub. I was at the World Cup, the last World Cup in Qatar, on the match that Portugal dropped Ronaldo. And the manager's since gone. Ronaldo's still there, but the manager's since gone. Uh-huh. But that performance was the best performance of the tournament by any team. Portugal won 6-1 in that game against Switzerland. Incredible performance. And they dropped Ronaldo for that match. He then come back. He was on the bench in the next match, and he couldn't save his team from being eliminated from the tournament. But I think he's going to make a bigger impact. And you've got to remember, he scored a hatful of goals this season, but he's playing in the Saudi League. And, with all due respect, I think me, you, Mitch and Pauly could score 20 goals in the Saudi League.
All right, very good. And you had the Portugal -1 yesterday. They get the late goal, and it puts it over as well. It's getting juicy now, my friend. And 3 matches, as Mitch mentioned. Let's start with the early one, Croatia and Albania. A lot of people making the case, Albania to finish at the bottom of the group. They can't score. They're dreadful, whatever. Okay, so total sitting at 2.5. What do you think with the one that we start the day here, Croatia and Albania?
Well, I bet them to be the lowest scoring team in the tournament, as I told you. And then I was sitting pretty. I sat down in front of the television thinking, I'm going to have a nice future here. 22 seconds later, they score. That's how it happened in the first game. Albania scored after 22 seconds, which was the fastest goal in European Championship history. After that 22 seconds, they offered very little. Once Italy went 2-1 up, Albania didn't offer them anything really. But the way these matches are set up, these second-round matches produce games where somebody's won a match, like 2 teams have won a match. They like to take a draw, and then that's 4 points will pretty much guarantee them a spot in the knockout matches. When you see 2 teams that have lost, then usually you're in for a goal fest. If any of these teams, a draw is no good for either side. A defeat will probably see them eliminated from the competition, and a win will see them in great shape to finish in 3rd place, which should get them through. So when you see 2 teams in the group matches that lost their opening matches, you would expect a real performance in the second match. And I think Croatia, I think the scoreline flattered Spain. I thought Spain were excellent, but I don't think Croatia deserved to be on the back of a 3-0 defeat here. I think Croatia will edge the match. I think they've got more quality. They've certainly got more experience. They're World Cup runners-up. They've done well in the Nations League as well. But I do think there's goals in this match. I think that the Albanians will take it to them. What you've seen in this tournament is a lot of the lower-ranked teams. The Georgia game yesterday was one of the best games I've seen all year, Georgia-Turkey. You wouldn't have expected it. And the Minnows have suddenly just said, OK, we're going to have a right go at you. And their strength is in attack. So I feel that this might be a decent match to watch. A defeat is a disaster. So that really means that we're going to see probably a good match. I like over 2.5 goals here, -125. I would go for both teams to score yes, which is +120 as well. But I would expect Croatia to edge it. I'm looking for Croatia probably to win 2-1, 3-1, that kind of game. But I do expect goals in this match because of the way that the group is set up.
All right, your pre-tournament pick to win the whole thing, Germany, ultra impressive against Scotland in their first overall match. Today, big favorites again against Hungary. By a goal and a half, minus 125 or so. Do you think they pound this opponent today again?
Well, I mean, if you saw the evidence of the first match on both of these sides, you would expect nothing more than.
Okay. Nothing more the same as where he was going to go. The Germans are minus 365 in the three-way. A goal and a half here again, laying $1.25. Yeah. Nigel, you were saying about Germany?
They were great, and beat Scotland 5-1, and then it was the own goal, horrible beat in Scotland. If you had to win 0.
For sure.
Scotland didn't even have a shot on goal in the match, and also the goal came when they were a man down to make it even worse if you bet to win 0. So they were great.
All right. I think we have Nigel Seeley back here on the Progressive Guest Line. PremierSportsPlays.com.
Sorry about this, guys. I'm sorry about it, guys. I was just pulled over from the car. I'm driving to going to see a concert tonight, and I'm going to drive and stay in a hotel. Anyway, I think Germany will win pretty easy on the evidence of the first match. I think they've got a young side. I think the country's starting to believe that they can win it. They've got a very, very good manager. And I think this word in sport, as I said before, momentum. As soon as you hit a bit of momentum and people believe that you can win something, you get a sort of an uplift from the supporters and the country. And I expect a very, very easy win tonight for Germany. Hungary were the most disappointing team for me because they've got some good players, and I thought they may cause some shocks in the first round against Switzerland. They didn't perform at all, and I would expect Germany to cover the handicap by at least 2 goals. I think they're a real good side for overbetters, Germany, this tournament. They've got youth in their side. They've got they've got pace, and I think they've got a very, very attack-minded manager. And I think Germany, throughout the tournament, they are going to be a side that are going to entertain. And they have to entertain in front of their own fans. So I'm going to go for Germany to win this quite easily. I think they cover the 1.5. I wouldn't even be surprised to see them cover the 2. I think they win by 2 to 3 goals. I think Hungary, they've got to win, but I don't think they're good enough. And the big problem for Hungary was their talisman, their captain, the 23-year-old captain, the youngest captain in the tournament as well, the Liverpool midfielder. I can't remember his name now, but if I can remember, I can't pronounce it. But he didn't have a good game, and he looked disinterested. And that is a real bad sign. And I think Germany keep that momentum going. I think they're a takeout team. They're 5-1 to win the tournament, which is third favourites behind France and England. And if you come down and watch those 3 matches for the first time in what you saw in the European Championships opening matches, well, they are leagues above England and France in this current time. So I think Germany will continue their win. And I think a convincing win tonight for Germany will see them installed as tournament favourites very quickly.
Okay, how about the last match? We were talking about how dreadful Scotland was. We didn't get a shot on goal in their first match. Why the Swiss only $1.15, total of 2.5? What do you think of the Swiss?
I think this is the question that I've been asking myself all week since the first opening game. The only problem sometimes is when you do this, when you do betting for a living and when you do things, if everybody tends to agree with you, then you have to think yourself, hang on a minute, something must be wrong here. And everybody I'm speaking to today or everyone on social media believes that Switzerland are the best bet of the day at minus 110. If you look at every breakdown, every stat, there's no way that Switzerland should be this price. Before a ball was kicked, you could bet Switzerland at even money. So they were even money. Some firms had them at plus 105. They've moved it into plus 110 on the back of both teams' respective performances. But honestly, there is an absolute massive goal for the performances. Switzerland were excellent. They were attack-minded. They were hungry. They were hitting a fancied Hungary side on the counter and looked really, really entertaining. They were slashed into 50-1 to win the tournament. I wouldn't go that far. But on the evidence of the performance of Scotland, who were dreadful, a 5-1 win, the goal, how they scored, I'll never know. The goal XG of 0. They didn't even force a corner, let alone a shot on target. No corners, no shots on target. And to add to their problems as well, they've got a couple of players who have got some injury concerns. And they have a suspension. Their defender, Portus, who brought down the German for the penalty in the opening goal. The third goal, he got sent off, and he misses 2 matches. So they're without their best defender. They're without potentially 2 players, and they're only minus 110 Switzerland here. Everybody's expecting a bounce back from Scotland, and the reason why is because they're saying Scotland are a passionate nation. They play with pride, and they do. Historically, they do, but they're not very good, and we're missing that part. They're not very good. In the last European Championship, Scotland lost their opening game, and then they played England, And the tactic from the Scotland manager was to frustrate, and it was a 0-0 draw, and it was the worst match I think I've ever seen between England and Scotland. It was terrible. It lacked anything. And there is this sort of probably a little bit of doubt in my mind that the Scotland manager may aim here to frustrate and get a 0-0 draw and try to win his last match. But I think Switzerland have got enough quality in them. And I think that's the only reason why Switzerland are -110, because I expect Scotland to try to defend and do what they did against England in the last European Championship, get a point, and then just try to win their last game against the Hungary side, who could be eliminated from the tournament by then.
Yeah, it's a great point, too. Well, we just saw this with the Florida Panthers last night, and I saw so many people saying Romania's awful and go against Romania, and then they won 3-0 against Ukraine. So if everyone's on the same side, usually it's run and hide for cover.
100%, and that's all. Why I always like to swim against the tide.
Yep.
It hasn't probably served me very well in the last couple of seasons with my unders bet, but over the years it's been quite a good strategy. But I do think the only doubt for me would be the tactics from Scotland. I think Scotland will try to get a point, and then if they can get that point, they will play that last game against Hungary, and Hungary have lost 2 games, so they'll be eliminated.
Okay.
So that might be the tactic, and that might be the reason why we're being enticed into this -110.
All right, lad. Great breakdowns as always. Thank you. Best of luck there. Enjoy the concert tonight, okay?
Take care, guys. Thank you.
Be good.
Thank you.
There you go. Nigel Seeley, PremierSportsPlays.com, on X at Seeley_Nigel. Up next, it's okay to bet huge favorites. Do you concur? Let's follow the money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Nigel every day on soccer, Stanley Cup final, NFL right around the corner with Lombardi, Shoemaker, WNBA. Check it out every day. Bookmark it, vsin.com. Best bets, betting splits, exclusive articles, odds by state, betting tools, and betting guides. Check it out every day, please. vsin.com. Here we go.
Great moments in history have begun with a question.
To be or not to be, that is the question.
What came first, the chicken or the egg?
Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?
And what kind of hair product does Mitch Moss use? But Follow the Money wants to know.
Do you concur? Concur with what, sir? Do you concur?
Pauly, I'm looking at the VSiN Daily as well from Bill 80 today. He points out that professional sports bettor Rufus Peabody is one of the best, one of the most successful in this racket, has been for a long, long time. He was on a numbers game yesterday with Gil Alexander, so evidently Rufus and his betting partners were looking at a $500,000 loss on the U.S. Open. Part of that was a $368,000 bet on DeChambeau not to win. It paid $15,000, among other bets as well. And the story was about how he tried to hedge and get out of it after the second round to avoid disaster once DeChambeau eventually won. But having said that, and he models and he's great with computers and numbers and so advanced. But Rufus right there, right? Try to do it. It's okay to bet big prices if your numbers suggest that or if you believe in the bet. Do you concur?
Well, okay. I was surprised it was that guy though, considering he just almost won the PGA. But why was other thing? People were the comments were all over the place about you're going to lose $500,000 here. People calling them names and what were you doing and come on, fix your model, that kind of thing. But going back to, while DeChambeau surprised me, it was him. Like Tiger Woods, DJ, guys like this where the game is just atrocious right now. If you're going to do that, and then to tie it into like college football, where you think there's no way this team could win if you parlay. So we see this with same game parlays too. If the stuff's correlated, even if the price is sky high though, but also if it's correlated,
right.
Sure, why not? But I'm trying to think of a team that's middle of the pack. Like, is Iowa gonna win the college football playoff? No. So if you parlay a bunch of those, I have no problem with it. And just say there's no way this can happen, or I'm going to take my chances that there's just the stars would have to align for this golfer, this person, this team to be in this position to succeed, win, or take me out.
How about something because the hype is still there, like something on the Astros at a big price to not win the American League this year? Now, I know their track record here. They've been in like 7 straight ALCSs.
Well, sure. Well, you were saying all year, too, along with Tribuco, about the Bucks. Maybe you didn't have to go that price, but you could pick a team there too.
No doubt.
Like there's no way the Orlando Magic are going to win the NBA title.
Right. I think
whatever.
this year we might have something on our hands at a low price here. The Las Vegas Aces. Can they win the WNBA championship yet again? I'm not so sure about that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a pretty short no price on them right now.
But it can blow up in your face.
No, it can.
Ask Fezzik, with the 16 over the 1 seed. And
that's right.
That's a great bet. Purdue money line. Whoops, you just blew 40 units.
And I'm looking at some of these numbers, and several sportsbooks are offering this. And I don't do a model like Rufus, but just looking at the numbers overall and their schedules, a team to go undefeated in the regular season in college football. An example, Michigan to not go undefeated is minus 1,400. So you lay $1,400 to win 100. A lot of people are going to say, well, why would you do something like that? Their schedule, they lost a ton, including maybe the most. Nick Bogdanovich this week said, bigger impact probably on Michigan losing Harbaugh than Saban being adios at Alabama.
Yep.
They get Texas, USC, at Washington, Oregon, and at Ohio State. They running the table?
No.
If you want a shorter price, Texas is minus $6 right now. They're loaded this year again. But they play at Michigan, Mississippi State, Oklahoma, Georgia, Florida, at Arkansas, at Texas A&M. Are they really going to be 12-0 at the end of the regular season?
Plus, they know you can lose a game or two and you're still going to make the playoff.
Yeah, sure.
Everything's changed now with 12 teams getting in.
All right.
Well, I'm all for that. I'm all for a parlay there. With those, there's like, you know how hard it is to go undefeated?
Very difficult.
And now with conference expansion and with realignment, forget it.
Like, I'm seriously pondering something like that. I don't have the bankroll that Rufus does, but I mean, something like that on a Texas team or maybe another team to not go undefeated this year. Per Brian Windhorst, OG Anunoby is, quote, not thrilled with what the Knicks' offer will be. Now, he would be a game changer moving teams. Do you concur?
Oh, 1,000% concur. Absolutely. What it would mean to the Knicks, and if you can get this guy, look at the record when he was out there. Look how well this is without Randall and other guys. And I think they give the Celtics a series if he was healthy. And then guess what? And then guess what? You could say, well, luck, everything went in. What can you do? But when he goes out, he was more than Willis Reed. The guy couldn't even move. I can't believe they put him out there in Game 7. But you just saw how bad they were defensively and what transpired and also what happened the prior game.
Here would be my example.
The Knicks have got to do the right thing here. Come on.
Yeah, you brought up Paul George, potentially, and everybody talking about this, maybe going to the 76ers. That, to me, does not move the needle. However, you put OG Anunoby on the 76ers, now we're talking. Now I'm going to have some interest there in Philadelphia, despite my lack of trust in Joel Embiid staying healthy for an entire year.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take my chances with Paul Skeens pitching a Game 1 against any other starter in Major League Baseball. Do you concur?
Oh, wow, that's aggressive.
Well, you don't have to concur.
No.
Who'd you like
because,
more?
well, I mean, even I know you're going to. It's because it's a short sample size, so we haven't seen the bad start yet. Because I can always counter what you can counter with. Imanaga got lit up. Look at his issues away from Wrigley. Cole's had some bad performances. The play-in game against the Red Sox. So we've seen bad games in big spots. We just haven't seen it yet. But that's. I love the kid.
Paul Skeens in Philly against Zach Wheeler or Aaron Nola or Ranger Suarez. A little too aggressive there on my part?
Well, but Philly, it got me also because of the rabid fan base and that home field advantage. I'm going to call you crazy if it's like Skeens against Sale in Atlanta. Something like that.
That's the next guy I was going to bring up.
Okay, that's not bad.
You'd be okay with something like that?
Sure. I'll ride with Skeens. Yeah.
Okay.
It's also about, it's the velocity, the command, but it's also the attitude. And always wanting to be better and improving. And also, I love what he said. Well, good luck. Good luck to the Cubs. They already saw me.
You gotta
and he was
love the
better,
confidence.
and he had the Kerry Wood game. So there's just something about him. He has the it factor.
All right, I'm watching the Orioles-Yankees game last night. It was on PBS, I think. Costas is on the call. Your guy, Bob Costas.
Yeah, I love him.
They bring in Kevin Costner. They're promoting a movie. It was at Cannes Film Festival. First of all, it got an 11-minute standing ovation. What are we doing here, people?
Yeah.
Sit down. So
can't be that good.
There's no way. There's no way. Anyway, so Costner, obviously, he's done a ton of sports movies, but I will tell you that movies about sports typically kind of stink. Do you concur?
No, I don't. Why do you say that?
Oh,
we've had some phenomenal movies about.
Okay, yeah, I'm saying, but we've had 1,000 movies about sports made. There's like 6 that are really, really good.
No, it's bigger than that.
10, 12?
No.
15?
Look at Costner's resume alone with the sports movies and the baseball movies. I still can't believe your thoughts on Field of Dreams, but that's... Field of Dreams, Bull Durham, and Love of the Game. I mean, look at his Draft Day. Apparently, was a stinker. I only watched it because of our friends in Cleveland that were in it, but it was. I think there's a lot of great sports movies, and even I love Major League. That's not Costner.
That's also 40 years ago.
Well, yeah, but
I'm telling you, there's a lot of sports movies have been just terrible. Stink bombs.
Yeah, you're going to get that though. But I can name you 20 that are excellent right off the top of my head. Yes, I can.
You just gave me like 4.
I can do it. Program.
Not great.
Baseball. That's a good movie.
Okay. Well, we agree to disagree.
You didn't like the program?
They brought on
Jimmy Kahn?
Hyde last night, the manager for the Orioles, for a couple seconds. They asked him flat out, what's better, Field of Dreams? I make Bull Durham minus 2,000 over Field of Dreams.
Oh, jeez.
He said, let me think about it. We just had Father's Day. I got to go Field of Dreams. I'm like,
Have a catch?
Can't get there.
Oh, you're nuts. Is this heaven? No, it's Iowa.
Did you
Come
like
on.
Any Given Sunday?
Yeah.
Can't get there.
No. Well, I can't get there with an 11-minute standing ovation. They just gave the Coppola movie a standing ovation, too. Apparently, it stinks. And that think about what you're dealing with.
11 minutes.
Yeah.
I got a good one here.
Okay,
I got a good one here.
I was going to give you the Timberlake, but go ahead.
All right.
This
is right up your wheelhouse, right? A bun can make or break a burger. Do you concur?
No.
Phew, man, we are on.
A bun can make or break a burger.
Absolutely.
Bread with a sub can.
Well, that too. But that's another story.
A bun.
If you have
I've never had a bad. Have you had a bad bun? I never had a bad.
100%
How can you have a bad bun?
If the restaurant it's not great quality, maybe a little bit hard, Absolutely. I've had a bad bun and it ruined the burger, and meanwhile, I've had great buns and it made the burger better. I think there's a make and break line here with the bun.
Never had a bad bun. I can't think of a bad bun.
Life?
I get bad bread all the time.
You're running hot
I'm huge.
in the bun game?
I'm big with the bread. Especially, it sets the whole tone when you go to a steakhouse and with the app about you can judge a good restaurant by the bread that they have, too.
Yeah, I totally...
Set the table. I mean, that goes back to the discussion we had last week with humans, with the Subway bread. I mean, come on. It's a non-starter. But
a lot of sandwich shops have the bread's the total key.
Sure.
I would say the same thing about a good burger. The bun can amplify how good it is. You've never had a bad bun.
I'm not a bun expert.
That's great.
I'm more...
Jeff Seeley on the program next. We'll get his best bets in the Travelers coming up on VSiN.
We're excited. Our NFL betting guide comes out next week. All the predictions, the props, the picks, the best bets. You must be a VSiN Pro subscriber to get the guide. Sign up for $1.99. It's yours. We throw in an extra month for free. 13 months, less than 50 cents a day. Best bets, every host, every guest. The betting tools, the betting splits, the betting guides. Code FTM. FTM. Claim your discount and bonus month. FTM at vsin.com/subscribe.
We were talking about sports movies in the previous segment. Jeff Seeley coming up in a few minutes here, or a few seconds, actually. I do have a question, though. If I dive into Friday Night Lights, the movie compared to the TV show, I'm guessing the TV show is better. I would love feedback on this because I started to watch the movie a couple of weeks back. An hour into the movie, I'm like, this is no good. Was this considered a good movie? Because I've heard nothing but rave reviews about Friday, but it has to be the TV show that's good, not the actual movie with Billy Bob Thornton. Am I correct on that? Hit me up at Mitch Moss Radio, at Pauly Howard at VSiN Live on X.
What's the one Denzel's in?
That's very good. Remember the Titans.
Remember the Titans.
Very good movie.
Yes.
Indy Jeff Seeley joins the program now. He is on the Progressive guest line talking some Travelers Championship and on X at Cupmaker Jeff, and the Cupmaker podcast is a name as well. Jeff, let's begin here. Were you licking your chops to fade Rory McIlroy this week after his debacle at the end of the U.S. Open last weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly wasn't going to play him, right? I think the more interesting question is going to be as we look down the road going 10 towards the Open, is he going to be playable? I've already seen some people say you got to pound him. He's going to be out for blood and win this thing. I certainly am not going to bet him to win, but I think it'll be really interesting. To be honest, I don't know quite what to think, but I'm not going to play him to win the Open. I can tell you that.
All right. Mm-hmm. So when you're looking at this course, and we've been talking to you now for like 4 or 5 years, it's a short course, very short, 6,800 yards. So when you see something like that, who are some of the guys that you're automatically going to gravitate towards?
Well, it used to be Webb Simpson back in the day,
Yeah.
but anymore it's guys like look at Brian Harmon, right? He's a perfect example. Not a big hitter, and he's had a lot of success here. So you look at Harmon, he's had his last 5 trips here. He was 2nd, 8th, 5th, miscut 8th. So, I mean, right off the top, he's a guy you look at. He's 40-1, finished inside the top 25 in 4 of his last 6 events. So I look at this and say, even a top 30, like he's minus 165, top 30 on DraftKings. I absolutely love that. A guy who's not a big gainer off the tee, but who can get hot with his wedges and hot with his putter. And when he does, he's always going to be there. He's a very good course horse here. Just guys like that who are course horses. And, you know, the other guy is Corey Connors, right? Mm-hmm. Corey Connors just dials it up. And this case is there's going to be small greens, so we don't worry about putting as much. Small, slow greens. I like Corey Connors top 10 this week. I think I never bet him to win, but you could find him top 10 plus 250 or better. 9th year last year, really good form coming in. So Corey Connors and Brian Harmon were the first 2 guys I thought of as soon as I looked at this.
Yeah, I like your picks, you know, and also how big is it if a guy comes off a solid round and if it carries over, how well Henley played and made a deep run and a big run on Sunday. But the other thing, too, and a guy you like is Cantlay. I mean, it was right there for him. He just couldn't make a putt. But if he made some birdie putts, he could have won the damn thing. And I would think you could get a big performance and a bounce back out of Cantlay.
I would agree, especially 20-1, right?
Yes.
And especially given his form here is phenomenal. So you look at this, he's finished no worse than 15th in 5 straight trips here, and he has 2 top 5 finishes in the last 5 events, as you mentioned, Paul, including top last week. So I think you can find top 20 minus 150, ties pay full. I mean, that seems like such a good bet for Cantlay. Obviously, I like him a little bit on the outright, but top 20 for sure this week.
Okay, so he's going to steady the ship.
Mm-hmm.
You brought up Henley, again, 25-1. Are you going to be adding these guys? You said Connors. You'll do him placements, top 10, maybe top 20, not to win. But the other guys like Henley, are you looking at top 10, top 20, top 30 there, Cantlay as well?
Yeah, I'm gonna play Henley to win. I'm gonna play Henley top 20. I'll play Cantlay top 10 and top 20 and a little bit to win. I think that the thing is, guys, like the guys with like Rory, Xander, and so on, their huge advantage, like they normally have in the U.S. Open in a tough course, is really mitigated by how easy this course is going to be. I mean, 20 under, 21 under is going to win, so you're going to have to make birdies, but with the distance, it's going to be a putting contest. And I like these guys in a putting contest. And frankly, like, I hate Scotty in a putting contest. We saw what happened last week, right?
Sure. So you bring that up. I on your notes, I don't see anybody like Denny McCarthy. Would he be worth a flyer in some other world this week because the putting can be so good?
Oh, for sure. He's like on my DraftKings player pool and all the guys that I listed on my site for everybody I'm interested in. Denny's certainly on the short list. I can make a case for him. Again, Henley. But what's interesting with Henley is he has been really good. Like the only 2 people who've been very consistently gaining in approach around the greens and putting better than Henley are Morikawa and Xander. That's it in this field. Like he's been that good. So I mean, 25-1, top 20 on Henley. He's an amazing form, and he's a really, really good putter right now. So I really like his chances. And then guys, look, the number 1 putter on medium to slow bent grass greens over the past 36 rounds is Jason Day. And I got him. I got him at FanDuel at 110-1 here a few weeks ago. Now, excuse me, a few days ago. You can still find him universally at 80-1 or so. So I love Jason Day this week, especially as a top 20, because he's such a good putter. Former number 1 player in the world. The putter's hot. If he even putts wedges are even average. Jason Day, we know he can absolutely win a golf tournament, and that price is absurd for a player who's that good.
I'm seeing around plus 210 for him to go top 20. You like that price?
I love that price.
Yeah. Okay. So he's 1 bomb. Let's go another guy who's bombs away, not quite at 110-1, but you got JT Poston at 80. Why do you like him?
Guys, he took second here 2 years ago, and he's another guy. He's sort of a poor man's Brian Harmon. He's another guy who can get hot with the putter, really good around the greens. His wedges can get hot, not a huge gainer off the tee. Doesn't have to be this week. So, again, shown he can play well here. Second place 2 years ago. If the wedges get going, JT Poston can compete in a game, again, that I think could be a putting contest.
Very good. The podcast is called the Cupmaker Podcast. He's on X at Cupmaker Jeff. Before you came on, we were talking about sports movies, but also TV shows that you watched all the way through, even though you didn't like it. Anything come to mind for you?
Gosh, it's funny. Now in terms of TV shows, I watched all the way through, even though I didn't like it. I will say this. I started out when I really kind of had to make myself watch Game of Thrones at first, because at first it was kind of slow for me and I didn't like it. Obviously, I loved it in the end, but that was one I started out slow for me. Shows I watched all the way through. I can't think of anything because I'm quick to quit on some shows if I don't like them.
So am I. That's the thing. It's a tricky question, no doubt. Yeah. All right, pal. Thanks for the time as always. The breakdown as well, and best of luck this week. We appreciate it.
Oh, take care.
There you go.
Well, that surprised me. A Game of Thrones starts off with a bang.
Well, the end of episode 1.
Well, yeah, I don't. Yeah. It was. I understand there's so many characters, and if you don't read the books, but I was hooked right away on Game of Thrones, and to me, nothing can top that. Now, poor finish, but again, that's on HBO, and that they hired people to do this who didn't know what they were doing.
For sure.
And once it got away from the books, the wheels came off. But
that's why it is a difficult question, because why would you watch a show that you give, like you rate around a C+? You're waiting for it to get better. I brought up again White Lotus again because the hype on this show from people, you got to watch, you got to stick it out. You got to keep watching. I'm telling you, it's going to get better.
Some good ones. Ray Donovan's another good one. That got bad. Ray Donovan. I like Willie Beeman. Let the women screaming. Westworld. I still have no idea what's going on. Me either. I'm with them on that.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
I like the idea of it, but that's a show that if you're not paying attention to every single second, you're going to be completely lost.
Yeah. It's wacky. Not Your Average Joe on X. 24. CSI. ER. Alias. My mom loved ER. She was a nurse, but the Clooney thing and
right.
What was going on with that show, and that was, man, I never got into it.
Tim says that Friday Night Lights actually could have made the list. The first 2 seasons were great, but it completely fell off. He says you cannot have a show about high school kids after they graduate. All right.
Yeah.
Kelly says Pauly's right about good sports movies.
Oh, I can give you a big list.
I'm just telling you that there's the list of sports movies that are bad. It completely outweighs the sports movies that are good. A lot of them are completely disastrous.
I don't think you can do it. Chew on that all day. Make a list when you got time.
Of what, bad movies?
I want to see.
We could do a 3-hour podcast on this. I'd have 1,000 movies.
Okay, now compare it to all the good ones.
Now, hold on. Let me bring up some good ones that are going to get lost. Kelly brings up Seabiscuit. Awesome.
Really?
Very good sports
all right.
movie.
Didn't see it.
Well, the number one, am I out of line here? Yeah. Number one sports movie of all time with a bullet to me is Hoosiers.
It's in the running.
Caddyshack?
I love Slapshot.
Slapshot, very good, obviously.
I laugh so hard when I watch Slapshot.
I'll run for cover after I say this. Rodney Dangerfield was so bad in Caddyshack.
Oh, no.
Ted Knight saved the movie.
Oh, no.
Without a doubt. We'll touch on today's Major League Baseball card up next. What a mid-season pickup for this division-leading team. A lot of feedback. Thank you for this. I'm way late to the party, as I am on a lot of TV shows, but every person but one so far has said Friday Night Lights, the TV show, blows away the movie. One person said the movie because the TV show is way too watered down. But I'll go with the majority here because I did not like. I'm only like an hour deep into the movie, and I'm like, I don't think I can finish it. Anyway, so we'll look at today's Major League Baseball card. Here is basically the mid-season pickup, Pauly, for a division-leading team. It's the Yankees and Garrett Cole. Gets Baltimore. Yep. Should he be laying in the $160 range today?
Yes, he should.
He should be?
Yes.
Okay.
It's more of how well the Yankees have played and who they're going against. You know, it's do you trust Maury Povich going for the Orioles, but also how they're playing great ball. Now, the thing that will concern me, how long is he going and the status of Judge? And that's, again, why you can't bet these ridiculous prices on MVP.
Well, here
Bets out 2 months and Judge gets hurt.
Again, I'm watching the game last night. That happens, and it looked a little dicey there for a minute. X-rays came back negative. His MVP odds went from minus 125 off the board to even money, and then back to minus 125 when they came back negative. But you're right. I can't in June still. I can't lay that for an award. There's no way.
Mm-hmm.
Garrett Cole last year against Baltimore. I'll go back the last 2 years. I don't want to go back too far. This Baltimore team, I would say, similar last couple of years. But against the Orioles in 2023, 2 starts, 12 innings, 3.75 ERA. The FIP much higher, 5.01. Only a 14.9% K rate. So it tells you that the underlying numbers were worse than his actual ERA. However, it completely flipped in 2022 in 3 starts. He had a 4.29 ERA and a FIP of 1.92, a 26% K rate. His numbers should have been better than what they were in 2022. But overall, I think you're right. When I first saw the number, I was taken aback thinking, man, Orioles damn good. Cole, $1.60 first start. However, the Yankees have been a machine now the entire year.
Yep.
So I can't take Baltimore.
For what it's worth, he was lights out in the rehab start.
Yeah.
But it could be a different ball game. But you're right. Scary that the pitching's been this good, and now they get him back. What a card with all these aces going.
Very
in
good
big
today.
name. So this is way too much respect for the Astros. This run that Crochet is on is nuts. And they lost last night 2-0. I think they're now, check my math of my work, I think they're 0-11, the White Sox this year, off and off day. But, so his numbers are great, but he had back-to-back-to-back rough starts. Since then, 7 innings, 1 run, 13 strikeouts. 6 innings, 1 run, 10 strikeouts. 6 innings, 1 run, 8 strikeouts. 6 innings, 2 runs, 11 Ks. That's against Baltimore. Shut down Toronto. Shut down the Nats. 6 innings, no runs, 11 Ks against Cleveland. Shuts down St. Louis. This guy is unbelievable. And the comeback is, can he do it every game? But for Brown and the Astros, and Brown has bad numbers, to be $1.15 here against Crochet, he's been ridiculous since that rough start April 24th against Minnesota and the run that he's on. Much like Keller and much like what Scooble's done all year. Scooble, more consistent, only had 1 poor start. But what Crochet has done since those back-to-back-to-back bad starts, sick run for Crochet.
Well, here's the thing. Based on your numbers that you just said, I will point out that for many years, the Houston Astros have been really good against left-handed pitching. His K prop today is 6.5.
Yeah.
Over is around plus 112, 113. Wow. You're getting plus money on over 6.5 for a guy who has been phenomenal since that time frame.
Yep. I'd have to take that. I'd have to.
We missed that one in his last start. Got to raise my hand on that. It was against Seattle, who they've been striking out more than any other team in baseball. Struck out 13.
I had him when Steve Stone guaranteed the victory to end the losing streak, and he came through big there against the Red Sox. But that was okay. Good call with what he did against Seattle.
Well,
right.
you brought up School, by the way.
Yep.
Going against the Braves. Now, don't sleep on Ronaldo Lopez, who nobody's talking about, but his Cy Young number is actually it's plummeted like a rock. And Lopez's splits, home versus away, doesn't matter. He has been electric wherever he pitches, but in 6 home starts so far this year, he has a whip of 1 and an ERA of 1.25. Now, every time the baseball bets have been shaky this year. The props yesterday were 0-2. Are we going to get runs in the first 5 between these two pitchers? Right? The Braves have been one of the best teams of the under the entire year.
Yep.
It's going to be a very low number, and it feels like every Scooble start is 1-0 at the end of 5.
Mm-hmm.
This, to me, seems like a pretty solid bet under first 5. But every time I do this, it's 4-2 into the third.
Yep. I'm with you. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Explain the Rangers line. Mets are hot. They win again. They've won 7 in a row. And Haney is second worst ROI in baseball.
Uh-huh.
I mean, the numbers aren't atrocious, but I can't believe that the Rangers are $1.10, $1.05 in that range at home against the Mets. And the throw in Samoan's been pretty good. But I like to ride streaks. And this whole Met thing, and I know people are losing their minds because
of Grimace?
Because of Grimace.
Throwing out the first pitch. I'm glad that not only the Mets, but also Major League Baseball, they're embracing this.
Yeah, it's fun.
You have to latch onto something like this.
Uh-huh.
It's a great time.
Yep.
For what it's worth, very small sample size. JD Martinez has a couple of home runs career off of Haney. But you're right, Haney has been he's been a bad bet this year, and the Mets are on fire.
Mm-hmm. I still want to take Suarez again. They've won every start but one, and the Padres are a mess right now, finding ways to lose. They blow another game. They're up 3-1 in the eighth and lose. So, and plus the Phillies at home, this ridiculous home field advantage that they have, and they're getting it done night in, night out. So I'd have to take Suarez, and I'll tell you, I mean, that they're the streakiest team I've ever seen. They'll win 7, lose 7 in a row, and the Twins have won 6 in a row now, and they come back and beat the Rays, and Joe Ryan's $1.60 against Bradley and the Rays. There's a lot of good streaks and a lot of good things going on too, and then we got our guy Keller going for the Pirates, who's on a great run. What he's done. So, and then we figure we talk about the Nats and they get shut out. But
that's the way it works.
And now Corbin goes too against Fott. But
it's a long season.
That was I know, but that was it's still a great story. But
Okay.
they've only 2 games under 500. Good card.
Would you consider? And we talked about it's okay to lay big prices once in a while. The Phillies in the first 5, they're a huge number today. Also, minus a half a run is between $1.25 and $1.40. They have been so good in the first 5 this year.
That's not huge to me.
No, it's not. It's not even that big of a number.
No, they have been a
really
machine. You're right.
So I'll give you some other numbers here on Ranger. It doesn't matter where he pitches, at home, away. He's got a 1.58 ERA at home, a 1.94 ERA on the road. Guy's been absolutely fantastic. He deserves to be right there with all these Cy Young numbers that are on the board. It's a very small sample size, so I'm not going to read too much. I will point it out. It doesn't mean much in my opinion. He has a 4.76 ERA during the day in 3 starts. He's made 11 starts at night so far this year. His ERA is 1.04. So that's almost 4 runs of difference, but it's been 3 starts, and one of those could have been just a bad blow-up game for him because he's been pretty much automatic the entire year. That's Ranger Suarez we're talking about here.
Well, there's something to that. That can happen. That can happen with teams. Better at night or awful during the day, whatever it is.
Yeah, right.
But I don't want any part of the Padres. No way.
No, I
Not
can't
the
either.
way they're playing.
You know what? To me, that is why you're going to get a big price team to make the playoffs in the National League.
No question. It has to happen.
I can't trust the Padres.
It has to happen. It's not going to be all chalk.
I don't think so either. Maybe it's not the Nationals. I mean, it's a fun story to talk about, but it could be somebody else.
Well, Braves and Giants, but still, there's got to be another team.
Right.
It's going to happen.
I bet the Cardinals.
I find it hard to I find it hard to believe it's going to go like Braves, Padres, Giants, or whatever. And I like your Cardinal bet too, although they blew that one yesterday. But
they certainly did.
They can hit. I'll tell you that.
I wish I had more confidence in the Cubs, but
can't get there.
That offense, you're exactly right. If they had a little bit better of an offense here, I would be fully in on that team.
And other guys in the rotation. That shouldn't be your record with the start Asada and Imanaga are having.
Another thing, too, I guess, well, now that we're talking about it here, the bullpen is they've been a bet against. Steve Makinen has his bullpen rankings all the time up at vsin.com. It's good for in-play wagering. When they have a lead, they have to go to the bullpen. Watch out. Fireworks are coming.
Yeah.
And
boy, that escalated quickly. Seattle's got a 10-game lead.
I know it.
They're 10 up.
I was going to ask you this earlier.
Oh, that got out of control.
Is there any way the Mariners could be last year's Texas Rangers?
Yeah, sure.
They don't have the offense, but whatever. They certainly have the pitching.
Yeah.
Now we have 2.5 months of data here on this team. That to me, again, we talked about the Yankees and the Orioles in the American League. Where are the other contenders? It would be the Mariners with that pitching.
I wasn't. You were on the Rangers. I was on the Rangers early about just how impressive this lineup was. The thing that surprised me about Texas was they kept losing pitchers, and it didn't matter.
I know.
You had Montgomery and Haney and guys like this who were turning to Koufax in October.
Right.
That's the thing that got me. And then they just ripped through Tampa and then sweep the Orioles. Absolutely. They're good. I mean, they're good. And this is 10 games up already. Man.
Crazy.
And they're dogs today.
They were dogs yesterday.
Yeah.
Didn't matter. Blasted Cleveland. Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. The cup is full of juice right now. What a game that was last night.